Hi, everybody. I am Coach Michelle Quirk. I am a pediatrician and a run coach, and I'm the founder of Mindful Marathon, where I help make running easy and fun for busy professionals. And I am very excited to be here today with Dr. Jordana Rothschild. She is a preventive medicine physician and the founder of Alpine Health, where she teaches patients to use lifestyle and mind-body medicine to live healthier lives. And I'm very happy to be here with her today. So welcome.
Thank you so much, Michelle. It's so fun to be here.
It's great to have you. And congratulations on your recent 5K.
Thank you. I couldn't have done it without you.
Oh, goodness. Well, take us through that. Take us through a little bit of your running journey here. I can't wait to hear about it.
Sure. So, I never ever my whole life would have called myself a runner, but since Michelle says that anybody that runs a little bit is a runner, I'm now a runner. So that now I'm a runner. But
Yeah.
I've never been really big on run. I've always been big on fitness and different types of exercise, but not running in particular. And several years ago, a friend of mine said, "Come on, we're going to do couch to 5K." And I started with her. And, at the very beginning of it, it's like these super short running intervals. And that very first, I think it was 60-second interval, maybe, I
Mhm.
thought I was going to die. I really did. I
Oh.
could not do 60 seconds of running, even though I'm in good shape. That consistency, I really thought I was going to die. My heart was pounding out of my chest. It was a disaster. But then we built up, and I got about halfway through the program, and she was so much faster than me by then that I kind of just gave up and I quit and I never finished.
Mhm.
So I took a break and then I regrouped, and she took a break after a while. And then she was like, "Come on, we're going to do it again." And I tried again. And I have been trying to get through this stupid 5K training literally, I think, for definitely 5 years, maybe more. I mean, maybe like 7 years, embarrassingly long that it has
No.
taken me to get through this.
Oh, no, this is so great to hear, though. I mean, I think I was in the same boat. I mean, I had this goal that I wanted to do a 5K for so long before I actually did it. I'm sure it was at least 5 years. And I just, yeah, I started and quit and started and quit. Yeah. So what finally made you do it?
Um, I started running again this year. I was in really bad shape in the peak of COVID. This was a very bad year for a lot of us.
Yeah.
And the year was really stressful for me. And my lifestyle just kind of went into this downward spiral where I dropped my exercise routine. I was eating garbage. I was stress eating. I wasn't sleeping. I was, kind of social media, just mindlessly scrolling and Netflix binging. It was just not a good place.
Yeah.
I didn't feel good. And so this same friend who's been with me, her name is Sarah. If you're watching, hi Sarah. Um, she was like, "We should run because we'll be a little less cranky if we run." And I was like, "I hate it. I don't want to do it." "Okay, fine, I'll do it." And we started running. And in the meantime, I started just kind of getting a better handle on my stress and my nutrition and my sleep, and just everything started coming together. And so I ended up getting in much better shape overall. And
Mhm.
the running somehow just got much easier because I was physically stronger.
Yeah.
And I thought, maybe I can actually do it. I think I want to kind of do it. So it was kind of in the back of
Multiple
my
things.
head that I'm going to finish the C to 5K thing. I'm going to get through the intervals and I'm going to finish.
Mhm.
And I got to the point where I was so close, so close. I could run for 20 minutes really slowly, but 20 solid minutes without stopping.
Mhm.
And that's where I peaked every other time I gave up.
Okay.
And so I kind of reached that make or break point.
Yeah.
And right around that time was when I met you, and you were like, "No, you're going to do it." Okay. I just said out loud, "I'm going to do it. So maybe I have to do it." So I remember like a couple of weeks ago, I texted you and I was like, "I'm going to do it this weekend." And then I did it, right? Because it was rainy and it was gross. And I was like, "Shoot, I didn't do it." So then and you're like, it's okay. Next weekend, you'll do it next weekend. So I woke up the next weekend and I was like, I didn't know I was going to do it until I did it. Like I woke up Sunday morning at 5:30 in the morning and I was like, should I get up? And I kind of like sat around, I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. So I got up and then I was like, okay, I'm going to go for a run and maybe I'll do the 5K, but maybe I'll just do my 2 miles and that'll be that. And I wasn't even committed. I was like out the door, jogging to the racetrack, still in my head, like negotiating. And I heard you and I was like, but I told Michelle I was going to do it. No, maybe I'll just do 2 miles. And I really like, the good angel and the devil, really like even until I got there, I didn't even know if I was going to finish until I finished.
This is amazing. I love this. I didn't know this part of the story. I mean, a lot of what
Good angel.
yeah. Oh, great. Thank you. A lot of what you say, I'm sure resonates with so many people, certainly with me too. I mean, this has been a really tough year. And this also speaks to a really positive part about having a virtual race goal for yourself because you can do it at any time.
Yeah, there's no way I would have showed up to a real race. In fact, there was another race in my neighborhood, in my community, that a lot of my friends signed up for that same morning.
Oh,
I like went to the link and almost signed up and then didn't, and then almost did and didn't. And I was like, nah, I'm not going to do it.
oh,
And
good thing you didn't tell me about that. It's a good form of peer pressure.
yeah, no, but I didn't do it. And then I don't know, I just ended up doing it anyway.
Yeah, this is so great. Well, okay, now take us through. We wanted to talk a little bit about mindset in running and also running benefits to mental health that there are in running. So maybe take us through the race a little bit. Let's talk about the mindset first and then we'll shift.
Yeah, so I realized through this whole thing that the only thing stopping me was my headspace. I I did it and it was fine and I survived, but I didn't even think I could do it even beforehand. And I teach mindfulness. I teach being in the moment. I have all these tools in this toolbox that I teach my patients on how to be in the moment, how not to worry about what's coming, how not to stress about it, all these things. And I swear I had to use every single tool in my box to get through like moment by moment. I really did, because I had that, you start. So I started running and I started my first mile really slow because I was like, I need to pace myself. I don't want to run out of steam. That's my usual thing that happens is I end up running out of steam because I start too fast and then I get out of breath and then I get tired and I lose my stamina. So
Yeah.
I, take a deep breath, go slow, pace yourself. You have a long way to go.
Mhm.
So for the beginning, it was just kind of this gentle jog. And I'm thinking about this daunting task of how many times am I going to have to put one leg in front of the other right now? And I'm like, no, don't think about that. Focus on one step at a time. So all those mindfulness tools that I teach, I was literally using on myself in that moment of just focus on this minute, get through this minute, one more step. And then I kind of started hitting a rhythm. But then when I start hitting that rhythm is when I start to fluctuate between getting bored and frustrated and wanting to go home on the one hand, or getting anxious about, oh my God, how much left do I still have to do on the other hand, right? Like that yo-yo between boredom and anxious that makes me want to stop. So again, when I get to that point, I had to stop and regroup and focus. And that's when I actually started using this tool that I love to teach called grounding with your five senses, where you use all five of your senses and focus on one at a time to be in the present moment with your senses. So you start with vision and I look around. So I was literally doing this while I'm running. What do I see? What do I notice? What do I hear? And I was, listening to the sounds around me. What do I
Yep.
smell? What do I feel? all of those things, just kind of to focus on being in my head, being in the moment, instead of worrying about how much left I still had to run.
I love that. Yeah, this is great. I mean, I use that technique in my long run sometimes if things get maybe a little bit boring. But yeah, it just shifts the focus and kind of takes you out of your own head, which is the point.
Yeah. And then I also brought headphones that I kept going
Mhm,
back and forth between distracting versus being present.
mhm.
It kind of went both ways. So for a few minutes, I was just, enjoying the moment. It was a gorgeous day. I could not have picked a better day. It must have been maybe a perfect 72 degrees and sunny with an ever so slight breeze. It was amazing. And the birds were chirping. So, I was enjoying that for a while. But then when the boredom kicked in, I had my headphones and I put on some podcasts that I like to listen to, because when I'm listening to content, that's a good distraction for me.
Okay.
So that's what that took me through mile two. Mile two, I was like in this zone where I was just listening to my podcast and not thinking about
Mhm.
anything else. And about halfway through mile two, I was like, my phone beeps. Actually, I guess when I got to the end of mile two, and it my app told me what my pace was and that I had finished the second mile. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so much faster than I thought I would be. I mean, I'm still objectively not fast, which is fine. But I was like, I'm 2/3 of the way there. I got this. I can do this. And that was when I got annoyed with my podcast. And I was like, I don't want to hear people talking anymore. I just want to listen to music. And when I put on my music for that third mile, I ran even faster because I put on some faster paced music. I started running with the music. And because I knew I didn't have that much left to go, I ran a little faster. I wasn't as concerned about conserving my energy at that point. So mile three was actually really fun.
That's great to hear. And yeah, music does help in the race setting for sure. I mean, a lot of people use music all the time to kind of take their mind off of it, but especially in a race, it's really helpful. So then, okay, so now you get to the finish line. Take us there. I want to hear the rest.
So it was kind of anticlimactic because I was like, oh my God, I didn't die.
No, you did it. You did it.
I did it. But I didn't, you know what? I didn't feel like I was going to die. You know what I mean? Like I still felt good. Like I was done. I was like, I'm not running anymore. I did it. I made it. I'm going to walk home now. But
Yeah.
I got to the point that I was done and I still felt great and had energy and was happy and it was good. Like I
Yeah.
really thought I was going to kind of collapse over the finish line kind of thing. But I really didn't. I felt great. And I was like, wow, I really did it. I've never done it before. I really, really did it. It was a really good feeling.
Yeah. And now, like, think about all of these tools that you developed, even just over the course of that race, right? All of those different techniques that you used. And I mean, it's the same, like you just kind of extrapolate that out for longer distances. It's just longer, but
Hey, hey, hey.
one one
Thank
step
you.
at a time. Okay. But I'm so happy to hear this. I know I was sending you messages the last couple of weeks because I knew you were gearing up to do it.
Yeah, I did it. I did it. And then I got home and I was like, I'm ready to take on the world. I have so much energy. It was great. It
Yeah.
was, I really, honest to God, did not think I was going to do it. And I did it.
Yeah. And now really the sky is the limit. It's not just about the running. It'll trickle over into all other aspects of your life
100%.
too.
100%. It affects everything. It affects everything. We were talking a little bit about mental health, right? And the effect of running on mental health. And I think about the sense of accomplishment that I feel and what that does for my mood and what that does for how I feel. So part of it's just that mental mindset of the feeling of accomplishment that's amazing. But
Mhm.
the other thing is just the confidence in my own body and the feeling of being strong and healthy makes my mood better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's really a belief. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
thought.
And we know that that's borne out in the medical literature, right?
Mhm.
When our body is healthy, our mental state is better,
Yeah,
and vice versa, of course.
for sure. Yeah, we were talking a little bit beforehand about yeah, running and benefits to mental health, and we know it really helps with things like anxiety and depression, and just really, I have to say, like a general mood. Like if I don't run, I notice that my mood just isn't as good. I don't have as much energy. um, I'm not as calm. So, I mean, that's my own personal experience, but I know this has been talked about in the scientific literature as well. And it does, running, increases all of these feel good chemicals, hormones and things in our brains. So it's no surprise. I mean, it's not an overnight thing, but over time, you really do change the way your brain is,
It
which is
does. So,
amazing.
it's interesting because it's happening on that physiological level, right? Like the chemicals that make us feel good that get released when we exercise in any way.
Yep.
And then the physical fitness that makes us feel healthier and stronger, and that impacts our mood as well. But then, and this hadn't occurred to me until I actually ran that race, was the act of practicing overcoming my anxiety in the moment of the run. It's just good practice for overcoming anxiety in other settings,
Yeah.
right? When you're running and you're anxious about how much is left to go, you have to bring up those tools to cope with that anxiety and practice that. And every time you run, you're practicing them.
Yeah.
So it's actually, you're treating your own anxiety in a sense by
Yeah.
practicing overcoming it every time you're out there.
That's so true. And it's not just anxiety too. I think there's like all the things that go with it, doubt and fear, all of these things are out there with you. And there's always the option to quit, right? Like really. I mean, I suppose if you're out in the boonies in the middle of nowhere, you might have no choice but to keep going. But most of the time you could
I was
just,
on a track. I was
yeah,
just
like
running
you
in
could,
circles.
right. You can call a friend, call the Uber,
Yeah.
So there's
Easy.
something that you have to overcome in yourself to keep going, which is, it's cool.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. I'm glad I did it.
Yeah, me too. Well, tell us what you do with Alpine Health. I'm interested to hear about that.
At Alpine Health, we have a big emphasis on community. So a big part of it is bringing people together to practice mind, body, and lifestyle medicine together. So a lot of what we were just talking about today, how your physical health impacts your mood and your mood impacts your physical health. And exactly that kind of bad spiral that I was in during COVID, where
Mm.
I was stressed out and therefore everything else fell apart, right? Like my exercise stopped, my nutrition went to garbage, I wasn't sleeping well, all of those things. And because of that, I felt physically not my best. And for me, it played out in just kind of feeling fatigued and lethargic and snappy and irritable. But
Yeah.
for a lot of people, it actually impacts more serious disease. It can increase hypertension, it can worsen autoimmune disease. There's a lot of interplay between all those lifestyle factors and stress and our mental health and our physical health and chronic disease, chronic pain in particular. There's so much overlap between all these areas. And so what we do at Alpine is take that whole picture, take all those factors, and just focus on the one factor that our patients think they want to tackle first.
Mhm.
Because the cool thing about all of it is you can interrupt that cycle anywhere. It doesn't matter where you interrupt it. You don't
Mhm.
have to fix all of them all at once, right? Like if
Yeah.
I woke up and I said, okay, here's your new diet, here's your new exercise plan, here's your new sleep plan, here's your new stress plan. That's crazy. That's crazy and that's overwhelming. And
It's
Nobody
not going to work.
can do that. It's never going to work.
No.
But you don't need to. We just need to pick one point anywhere in that to interrupt.
Yeah.
And so, and you get to pick what it is, right? Like, what's the one thing that's going to help you break out of that cycle? And we help you get there, and then things kind of fall into place.
Yeah, that's amazing. And this speaks to, I just had a conversation with Dr. Lynn Stiff a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about how to up level our running using the pillars of lifestyle medicine, and kind of talking about each of these. And when one is out of whack, the rest of you is also not going to function at her best. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can't compartmentalize this stuff.
No.
I mean, the same way like the human body, you can't, if I have a broken finger, I can't just ignore my finger.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to make me cranky and I'm going to feel pain. Right? If I have a broken finger and somebody says, "How are you doing?" my first answer is going to be, "I'm in pain. I have a broken finger." I'm not going to say, "Oh, well, the rest of me feels fantastic." Right? When you have
Exactly.
one thing, it impacts everything else.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is great. I love what you're doing. And tell us where we can find you.
Please do. You can find us at alpinehealthmd.com. You can follow us on Facebook at Alpine Health. You can find us on Instagram. I'm Jordana Rothschild, MD, LinkedIn too. And we have 2 YouTube channels. The first is Alpine Health, where you can find some more informational videos as well as meditations, guided meditations that you can just practice whenever you want. And our other channel is called Adult Recess, where we have some fitness pointers. We want to get you up and outside and moving.
I love the title of that, Adult Recess. Perfect. I'm
we,
gonna
we all need a little recess, right? We all need a little break.
yes. I'm gonna leave those, I'll leave those links too in the notes in the description below too.
Fantastic.
Oh, well, thank you so much for joining me and chatting a little bit. And I really loved hearing about the 5K. I know that a lot of people will relate to this.
Thanks, Michelle. And everybody, Michelle is a great coach. She got me there.
I appreciate that. If you are interested in a coaching program or want to learn more about coaching with me, check out the website below. There is a link to schedule a coaching call and we can go from there. All right. So thank you again for joining us, and we will talk to you soon.